Hey yo, Dr. Lulu here. So let's get into it, shall we? In the last 2 days, I just had my third podcast today. But in the last 2 days, I've had two really long podcast interviews. Monday, I had one for nearly 2 hours, and yesterday I had one for like an hour and a half. And I just had one for about 40 minutes just now. And each of the people who were interviewing me were drawn to me for several various reasons, but especially because of this my second TEDx talk that a lot of people may or may not know about. So let's get into it. So if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Lulu. I'm a pediatrician by training. I'm also a mom. I'm a queer person and an author and a speaker and all the things. And on the 21st of April, we're going to be having a free webinar titled "To Come Out or Not: 3 Things You Should Know Before You Decide." So in lieu of that webinar, I'm doing lives every day, mainly to please my coach. Today is day 8, but also, to get back into the hang of things. So my second TED Talk discusses the concept of coming out versus inviting in. In fact, the title is Rethinking the Closet, coming out versus inviting in, something like that. And so I want to talk about that because a lot of people find it intriguing. So for the most part, everyone talks about queer people coming out, and there's nothing wrong with that fundamentally. The only problem with that is when somebody comes out, the truth is they're giving you their power. They're giving you the power to accept or reject them. They're giving you the power to affirm or not affirm them. And so what the concept that I was explaining in the second TED Talk is, what if we change that idea from coming out to inviting in? And if we go with inviting in, then the power suddenly belongs to the queer person. It becomes our party, it's our life anyway, and we get to decide who we invite into our queer world or to our party. So the idea is not originally mine. I came upon it in 2020 when I was on another podcast interview, and the lady asked me if I'd heard about the concept of letting in. And I was like, no, I hadn't. And I thought that was such a beautiful idea. So I started looking into letting in, and then I saw inviting in. I'm like, oh, I like inviting in better. So I decided to write a book about it. I don't know where it is now. I never published the book, but I did write it. And then it's a long story. But so I started thinking about the concept of inviting in and what might change when you look at it as inviting people into your world versus coming out to them. Either way, it's still the queer person sharing that aspect of their life with you. However, when we look at it as an invitation, then you, as the person on the receiving end, you now have to earn your invitation. You now have to create a safe enough space for the person to invite you in, whether it's your child, whether it's your parent who is the one inviting you in, whether it's your coworker, your friend, whoever the person is, they are the ones letting you into their life. So you need to act right? But also the next level that I added was, if I can invite you in, then I also reserve the right to disinvite you, to uninvite you. And I want us to talk about that a little bit. A lot of times our children tell us that they're gay or they're queer or whatever, and many children will say, Mom, I don't really want you to tell dad, or I don't want you to tell grandma, or whatever, whoever the person tells you not to tell, rather than saying, well, why don't you want to tell them? Because obviously there's a reason. There's no other reason why somebody would say, don't tell Aunt Susan what I told you, or don't share it with someone yet, and there's no reason for it. There's obviously a reason. So rather than getting defensive and saying, well, I tell your dad everything, which is not true, of course, we know that. Or I share everything with your grandmother, which is not true. Why don't you get curious and rather say, well, tell me more. And let the child own their story. Let them own their right to share. Let them own their right for as long as they can. The truth is, before your child decided to tell you that they're LGBT, they've known for years. They have known for years. They have known for years. And so when they finally tell you, you need to guard it. You need to safeguard that information. It's also not very safe today, right? You can't just tell anybody because we don't know who has what in mind. They might look like they care. They might be family, but that doesn't mean that they're safe for your child. And so, going back to what I was saying about being able to uninvite you, they can also upgrade you. In other words, they can upgrade you to VIP because it's an invitation. So you might be on the inner circle for them because you become their chosen family, which is huge for a lot of LGBT plus kids right now who often get kicked out or ostracized or bullied or beaten up or even possibly unlived for being queer. So anyway, I just wanted to come and mention that as you go into your hump day, as you go into the other half of the week, to think about, if you're a queer person, to think about what I said, that first of all, you don't have to come out to anyone if you want to use the term coming out, but also you don't have to invite anybody in if you want to use the term inviting in. It's your story. You get to tell it however you want to. It's not anybody's, you're not obliged to tell anyone. It's not a thing you must share. That said, whatever your reasons for wanting to share, they are valid. They are valid reasons. So, but just know that you don't have to. And if you choose to, then do so. Now, let's just say you find yourself kind of spinning around and struggling or navigating that space of whether to come out or not. I have this webinar coming up on the 21st of April. And during that webinar, we're going to go deeper into the consequences, the blessings, right? The wins, the questions to ask yourself, the answers you should already have in place, and other things before you decide to take that next step, which is first coming out to yourself and then coming out to other people. So my name is Dr. Lulu. This is what I do for a living. My practice is called Dr. Lulu's Pride Corner, and in that practice, it's virtual or in person. In that practice, we hold space for all queer people and their family members who want to support them. We are there to help you navigate your own identity. We're there to help you navigate emotional aspects of that. We're here not to fix you, not to correct you. This is not a diagnosis. You don't need medication. There's nothing you're not broken, like ChatGPT would say. You're not broken. You're not confused. It's just a journey, and sometimes you need someone who's been there already, someone who's done it already to be able to help you, even just to hold the story for you, just to hold it for you as you figure it out. Because my job is never to tell you to come out or not. My job is to ask you questions like, what made you, how did you arrive at that conclusion that you are? And what's the driving force behind you wanting to tell other people? So my job is really to hold space for you and help you figure it out. A lot of people think that if I could just come out, everything will be fine. But my job is to help you know that it's not the act of coming out or the act of deciding. It's the act of having somebody safe to help you process it that's often missing. And that's what my practice is here for. So we are Dr. Lulu's Pride Corner. You can find the link to schedule an appointment with us to just have a conversation in my bio across all of my social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And maybe you know someone, maybe you're not the one that needs to talk about this. Maybe you know somebody's parent who is struggling. I had a lady in my DM recently who is even too scared to even tell me what it is in my DM. And that's how bad it is for some people. So I had a mom who recently told me that she's the one who is queer, and she's 28, and she is struggling with telling her husband. So it's not, sometimes we kind of get stuck on the fact that it's your child, it's your child. Sometimes it's not your child. Sometimes it's your sister. Sometimes it's your parent. And that may potentially be harder to navigate. So if you know anyone who is LGBT, who is thinking that they're LGBT, whose child might be LGBT, whose parent might be LGBT, and they're struggling with the journey of becoming or the journey of acceptance and affirmation, please send them to me. Let them message me, or my number is area code 802-768-1180. I'm happy to meet them wherever they are. You don't have to do this alone. You do not have to do this alone. And if you want to join us for the webinar, great. It's on April 21st. The link is in my bio. All right, I have a client at the top of the hour, so I'm going to go get myself ready so I can go see her. I'll see you all later. My name is Dr. Lulu. Ciao, ciao. Bye.